as being part of the Cool Dads Club, I get a lot of stuff sent out. And funny enough, a lot of that stuff is actually these things. I don't know what it is, I've got a fascination with keyboards. And that's where today's video brings us to the one keyboard everybody wants, or just tries to get their hands on, or just wants to even test out and see if it is the world's fastest gaming board. Well, I've had it now for around 2 weeks. I've actually added custom keycaps, because I will say, the original keycaps, I'm sorry, but they just feel cheap. I'm gonna say it, they don't feel the best. I don't feel like they represent high quality in any resemblance. They don't feel to me double shot PBT, even though they are. I just don't feel it. Personal preference. Other people out there might be like, no, they work fine, they sound good, they feel good, whatever. That's your personal preference. Me, personally, not so much. So I did go and add my own keycaps on there. If you want to see these keycaps, they are linked in the description, but I'm not talking about them today because that's not why we are here. I'm talking about the overall board and the experience and build quality and overall genetics of, is this even worth the hype today? It's sort of a backwards compliment, if you will, this part. Using this for work does not benefit me in any way because I'm double clicking so much. Like, typing experience for me, I couldn't get used to it. I guess it is that fast from stock that I just needed some more time to understand how lightly I need to really press these buttons. I know you can change the activation points to, you know, 2mm if you wanted to, compared to the 0.1mm or whatever it is. I always try the board on stock mode first, just to get the overall feel of the layout, the style, because it doesn't have these adjustable feet on the back. It is a standard body height and stuff like that. You have to get used to the different layout and height adjustments and things like that before you can really judge a keyboard, because everyone knows as soon as you switch keyboard, you're all out of form. It takes you a couple of days to even figure out, okay, I don't have the F buttons at the top, so you know I don't need to go that high, or you get my point. I mean, let's go over build quality first off to start with. I mean, yes, it is made out of plastic. You can get the aluminium case, which hopefully, if this video does well, we can actually ask them to send that out and we can test that instead of this plastic case here. But I mean, the plastic, there is not any flex in that body, so it's still a rugged as hell body on that. So, you know, you can throw it in your bag because it's that small and lightweight. You could throw it in your bag, take it to a tournament, like most esports players do. Even though I will mention the snap trigger feature, it did get banned in CSGO. So if you're playing CSGO and it notices you're pressing A and D really quickly, it's noticing it's unhuman to be able to click that fast. They will kick you out of the game, so just be cautious. This keyboard's not for everyone that plays competitive, because a lot of the games now are seeing it as cheating, which, I mean, in a sense you could say it's cheating if you don't have this board, but if you have this board, then why not use the abilities it is given? You know, with great power comes great responsibility, and if you're not responsible enough to even go out and get one of these because everyone else is, you know, snap tappy happy, then that's on you. You know, be better. You're just upset that you didn't have a Wooting on your side. I think that's what it is. It's just a lot of Karens saying, hey, I've been killed by a Wooting, I want it banned from esports. Why? It's not going to make you any better. Let's just face facts. They obviously made a good feature and people utilised it, and they done really bloody well with it. But anyway, moving back to build quality, let's actually go over how this is laid out. So obviously starts with number 1, the keycaps, number 2, the Lekia switch, number 3 is the SGCC steel switch plate, which not a lot of people realise has crazy artwork on it. If you've never actually taken all the keycaps and switches off out of this board, you're definitely missing out. I've actually said they need to send this out without the switches and keycaps plugged in, just so you can appreciate the board itself, because as you can see for yourself, this is insane how they've got such little details in on this little board here. You know, for me that was definitely a cherry on top when I took out the keycaps and switches and saw that. Definitely some craftsmanship happening right there. But then it moves on to the Pyron foam at 4mm. Then you got the screws, and then spill resistant PCBA, then EPDM foam, the ABS tray mount case, the silicone pad feet, the nylon strap, the silicone attachments, and then obviously more screws. So that is literally the board from top to bottom, like everything, even the strap and then the little feet pads. Like that's going into some detail right there. But enough of the actual specs from the website, because I do this a lot. I read the website and everyone's like, oh, I could have done that. You've just made a video for no reason. Personal experience, let's go from there. Like I said, build amazing. Functionality, I have had issues, like I mentioned, with double tapping. I tend to find myself as a fast typer when I know what I'm going to type. If I'm having to read it on screen and type it, like what then people play the game and it's like speed test, I'm terrible. But now let's actually go over the functionality of me personally using this for the last 2 weeks. In gaming, it's so lightweight. Flip it sideways, competitive, want to just chill, fling that thing back, just chill game. Easy as that. When it comes down to typing experience, like I mentioned, there's a couple of double taps that I've been hitting. A lot of the time it's spacebar, just typing away. I'll notice that I've double typed the letter. I think that's just down to me always using sort of 75% keyboards. This obviously being the 60HE is a lot smaller, there's less keys, a bit more crammed together, so I might just physically be clicking it twice without noticing. But I have noticed the spacebar does it itself very frequently. It does like to double tap, and that's not because the keycaps have been changed. I've tested it and it has worked the exact same with the original keycap. I just think these keycaps look a lot better. As well, with it being north facing LEDs, these keycaps just look even better because they have that nice clear transparency at the top where the LED is. It just bleeds color and it looks fantastic. But when I first did get this, I went straight to the online software. That's one thing I love about keyboards like this. You haven't got to download specific software. You can just go online and instantly get software that you can use. Having to download extra drivers, extra software, all of that stuff, it's all there on their website, and it's super simple, super easy to use as well. Everything's explained quite nicely. And the first thing I did was update this to the latest firmware, so it's nice to see that they're still updating their firmware, updating bugs if people have found it, so that is a nice touch. And obviously with them still bringing out more keyboards and upgrading the older keyboards with new cases, new switches, all of that jazz, it shows they're still on top form with trying to be the best on the market. Now, for price wise, it's hard to say for price because this thing is not cheap. They were the first to really bring out on the market magnetic switches and just this overall snappy tappy and all that good stuff, and allowing you to change activation points and all of that little individual movements and increments of, you know, the lighter you press it, the slower they walk. Everything, it was a game changer for sure. Since then, a lot of companies have been able to replicate or even do better with the switches and overall, you know, aesthetic of the board. And number one, definitely the price. There's boards out there that can do pretty much the same as this for a hell of a lot cheaper. I think with Wooting, because they were the first really to come on the scene on the market, they have the right to have the prices that high. But when it comes down to the overall, you know, market of this magnetic switch, there are other brands out there that do almost the exact same for a lot cheaper. But, you know, that doesn't take away from what Wooting have done and what are doing. So definitely, if you are looking in the market for a high-end version of this board, then stick with this board. Like the Razer came out and, you know, you're just paying for the name at that point with Razer. Corsair, again, you're paying for a name. They are big branded companies that you're just paying for that name. You're not paying for the quality of the board, you're not paying for the customer service, you're not paying for nothing, just a name. Where Wooting, they really built their own. There wasn't really a consumer market around this company. They came out of the woodworks and are dominating, and I think that's what gives them the honour and the respect this board deserves as well from many creators, gamers, esports players, professionals, all of them sort of just over in general. They recommend this board, and for good reason. Now, I would say I would love to be able to test the sound and the feel of the aluminium case, because it is that plastic board. It's a lot more lightweight and it does have a bit more of a hollow sounding click, but it's still a nice satisfying click, don't get me wrong. I think I just need to personally get better at the double clicks, because that's where I feel I'm not really utilizing this board enough, because I'm already double clicking and it's at standard. So if I put this down to 0.1, I think I'd be like quadruple clicking. I think that's down to me personally. So I wouldn't say it's, you know, a bug that I found. I'm clicking too quick and I'm not used to how fast this board is. As I'm looking today, this is coming in at 158.80. Now, would I say it's worth the price in 2025 and worth the hype? The hype, probably, because it still is one of the best boards out there for that, you know, gaming aesthetic, not only for the little strap that you get. Even though I've noticed a lot of companies are starting to do this, they must be doing something right. If people are out there copycatting and stealing their ideas, they've got to be doing something right. But for the price of £158, I don't think that is very reasonable. But then I guess it really depends on what's inside the board, because a lot of companies out there might be using cheaper parts. They might not be lubing their switches, they might not be, you know, doing all these little increment steps in between. You know, this one has craftsmanship on the board, on the actual faceplate there. Not a lot of companies do that. So the small features with this are worth that price, but when it comes down to the overall look, it's a very plain plastic board. You know, with the standard keycaps, if I took this to someone's house in standard mode without this strap, they'd think it was any other cheap plastic keyboard on the market. The strap gives it its name. You know, I've noticed everywhere I've looked, this strap, instantly I think Wooting. So whether Attack Shark do it, whether somewhere else do it, as soon as I see a strap like this, I'm thinking Wooting already. So that's a bonus, I guess, that they have. They've got rent-free marketing in everyone's heads just because of the strap. But yeah, for the price, I don't know if that could be justifiable for a lot of people, because it is a very expensive budget, in a sense, keyboard, because it is all plastic. There's nothing in there that's really screaming premium. Like I said, I've already changed the keycaps because the originals I just didn't feel had the wow factor. They just felt really cheap. I always change my keycaps anyway. Same with this board here. This keycap set is going to be changed because they also feel very cheap. I think it's just the genetics of any stocked keycap really isn't given high quality. It's always third-party companies that make better keycaps, and I'm just going to say that right here. You've also got to take into account that Wooting have made it so you can fit this into any 60HE board, so it hasn't got to be stuck to the Wooting. So if you get a custom made board that's a 60% keyboard, majority of the time this is going to fit into it. So you could actually go to the market, instead of having to find one that's 100 odd plus for an aluminium board, you can go to the market, find a £30 one, and even whack this into that and have yourself a sleeper board, whatever you want to do with it. It is down to what's inside the board that matters, the brain behind it, the overall experience and stuff like that is why the price is as high as it is. But for someone that likes keyboards, this is definitely one to add to the collection. I think just having this in the selection of boards is a worthy contestant for any collector out there. So that's why I do recommend it, because it is one of those boards that you just have to have, even if you don't use it, just to say, hey, I've got a Wooting. That already just gives you extra 25 FPS in game. So if you want that, definitely go in the description where the links are below. Go check it out. But before we end it, I'll show you what it sounds like with the default keycaps. If you have any other questions or queries about this board, please let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to make another video about the things that you're curious about, because that'd be quite nice to really dive deeper into, you know, say you want to see what it's like on certain games. Whatever you can think of that you really would like to see with this board that no one else has really done before, please let me know in the comments below. This was basically just an overall review. Instead of it being about the board, it was more a personal experience, and if I thought this was really worth the price, the hype, and all of that stuff, with a little bit of a personal touch to it, because there's been enough people out there reviewing this board, as in like taking it apart and things like that. I wanted to really give someone my personal experience as someone that uses keyboards every single day. So yeah, that's what I've done. Hopefully I've given you some value into that, and maybe helped you decide if this is a board for you or not. But if you enjoyed this video, or you do like keyboards, tech, and all stuff like that, then please hit the like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss all my further uploads. But other than that, my name's been Callum, Capture, Create, Captivate, and I'll see you all in the next video.